Down below and you'd see molten steel running down the channel rails. Like you're in a foundry. Like lava.
From a volcano.
Underground, it was still so hot that molten metal dripped down the sides of a wall from Building 6.
This formation is really 4 separate stories of the World Trade Center, compressed, compacted, incinerated, exposed to temperatures as hot as the inner Earth.
I never knew this existed.
De extreme temperaturen die nodig zijn om staal en zelfs beton te laten smelten zijn buitengewoon hoog. Hoe verklaart NIST deze temperaturen en hoe past dit in hun theorie van het instorten?
I don't know that that's so.
There's video of it.
Melted around 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. I think it's probably pretty difficult to get that kind of temperatures in a fire.
Niet alleen ontkent NIST dus dat er gesmolten staal was, ze bevestigen tevens ook dat hun theorie van het instorten niet klopt, want volgens die verklaring kan er dus onmogelijk gesmolten staal zijn.
And there, this cross is fully extended, melted together with the intense heat. The two beams were never initially part of the same structure. Heat literally melted them together.
I found it hard to believe that it actually bent because of the size of it and how there's no cracks in the iron. It bent without almost a single crack in it. It takes thousands of degrees to bend steel like this.
One of the more unusual artifacts to emerge from the rubble is this rock-like object that has come to be known as the meteorite.
It's this fused element of steel, molten steel and concrete and all of these things all fused by the heat into one single element.
As we know, for concrete to melt, a temperature of several thousand degrees is needed, and the result will be much the same as the lava that comes out of volcanoes. Possibly the most authoritative account of all comes from Leslie Robertson, the engineer who had built the Twin Towers.
We're down at the B1 level, and one of the firefighters said, I think you'd be interested in this, and they pulled off a big block of concrete, and there was like a little river of steel flowing.
They also could not explain the sulfidation of the steel. That is, steel had been chemically changed at the microstructural level in ways that indicated a chemical eutectic mixture had been achieved between sulfur, iron, and oxygen, causing steel to melt.
That was a controlled demolition. Would there not be any evidence at the ground level of explosives within the building itself? That's the debris that's left?
Indeed, and what we find down there is pools of molten iron.
What does that mean?
Several tons. Exactly. What is that doing there? The first responders see it, the structural engineers see it. It's documented by FEMA, the melting of steel. Normal office fires is what's supposed to have brought these buildings down, along with jet plane impacts. But jet fuel and office fires don't produce molten iron or molten steel.
Waarom zou NIST het gesmolten staalfenomeen helemaal negeren, terwijl er wel bewijs van is? En hoe kan het dat er na 3 maanden nog steeds brand was?
What's to explain, Governor, the smoke that still comes out? There's still fire down below.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And this is 6 weeks later, almost 6 weeks later. And as we get closer to the center of this, it gets hotter and hotter.
So, I mean, these things are burning. At one point, I think they were about 2,800 degrees.
Big sections of iron that were literally on fire on the other end. They would hit the air and burst into flames, which was pretty spooky to see.
As recently as the end of November, it was still 1,100 degrees down underneath the rubble.
The weird thing was it was very cold when we were up there. I believe it was in the middle of the winter, but the ground wasn't frozen. The ground kind of like bubbled underneath your feet, which was kind of strange to me.